So I thought my system was already optimized, but it's actually not, and I wasted a lot of time today. Then I reflected and I got some key insights that I'm gonna share with you and that are helping me to actually be more productive and force myself to just ignore the things that are not important. So today is day 74 of documenting my journey for creating my learning platform, my space learning platform, which is Spacewise. And yeah, let's get started. Let me just show you what changed. So first of all, as you see here, this is the actual system in a free flow canvas format. Basically, I just put the steps over here and I explained them. But this was how the system was in the morning. It was, as you see, really like isolated. There were like many things that were alone and not many arrows. Now it's integrated, as you see over here. And this represents a much better clarity about the system and about how I'm using it. Alright, so I'm gonna give you a small overview of the whole system and the purpose of it. I'm not gonna go into much detail like I did yesterday because it took me like an hour to do it, to record everything and to explain it. But either way, so the first thing I'm gonna do is like when I wake up, I'm gonna define my priorities. Then after defining my priorities, like which is a list of things that are the most important to achieve my goals. These things can be like tasks or ideas or anything. And I will get this list from this, which is basically just checking my goals and seeing what am I lacking or what is the most important thing. How do I find what is the most important thing? Well, I will prioritize based on what's more important logically, you know? I will not prioritize based on what feels like it's more important. I need to evaluate it properly because as I'm going to talk about a bit later in the video, this costed me a lot, and it's going to be very painful. But right now, after this, after setting my priorities, I'm going to set 1% improvement, 1% tasks that are going to allow me to start making progress in the direction of these priorities, these goals. And after doing this process, I'm going to have important, actionable things, we could say tasks, that I can start incorporating into today's work sessions. What do you mean by work sessions? Well, here is where I actually do the planning and the execution. This is basically where I plan exactly what I'm gonna do and when I'm gonna do it, and exactly the tasks that I'm gonna do. So first I create the session, which is the work block, right, where I will be working on one thing, one of these important things, right? Then I will define the outcome of the work block. What do I want to achieve exactly after the work block? And then I'm gonna sequence the sessions. So I'm gonna be creating all of the work blocks for all of the sessions, and then I'm gonna prioritize. You see, I'm gonna prioritize based on logically thinking about what is the most important task that I do first. What is the most important task that I do first, and what task that if I can't do today, it's not that big of a deal and I can schedule it for tomorrow. If I need to do a task today, like urgently because it has to be today, then that would be first, that would be prioritized first. Then I'm gonna start the iterative execution process. Now this is a very big word just for saying that I'm gonna execute. And I'm not only gonna execute because here are some more nuances that are important. Because usually when I just execute, like I'm not sure what to do, I don't have really a plan, I'm really unproductive. And even though today I also did this, I was still unproductive. And that's what I'm gonna talk about next. But first, let me just say this. So I'm gonna choose the time scheduling approach. Am I gonna time block? Like, am I gonna just set 30 minutes and after those 30 minutes I'll move on no matter what? Or am I going to allow it to span? Like, if I need to complete this task, I'll just allow it to take however long it takes, you know? Then I'm gonna define a 1% task for this small outcome, which means that I'm gonna define exactly what I need to do to start making progress towards that outcome. Then I'm gonna execute. I'm gonna actually do the task in the time that I have set and in the direction that I have also set over here. Now, after executing, I'm gonna do a mini reflection. Have I achieved my outcome in the time that I have set? If yes, then well, that's nice. What can I learn from this attempt? What can I improve? What can I like get from this so I'm more consistent and I prioritize and execute my tasks better? If it's a no, what was the right? If it's a no, then what was the cause? Like, why didn't I achieve my outcome in the time that I said? Is it because I was too scared? Is it because it was too a very small amount of time and I didn't plan correctly? So that's where I'm gonna try to see what the cause is, and then I'm gonna set actions that I'm going to take to improve next time. Then I'm gonna evaluate some patterns of previous reflections. If I see that like this is important because it will allow me to be aware of patterns that I might have not been aware of otherwise. And if I do this, then I'm gonna be much more aware of what's holding me back. Okay, now why was I incredibly unproductive today? Like, what happened? Well, I did a reflection, and let me show you the reflection over here. So the problem that I had was that I was very inefficient. And even though I kind of knew that I was inefficient, that I wasn't getting much output for my time and I could be working like in a different way and getting more more outcomes, I actually didn't stop and I didn't try to reevaluate my processes and what I'm actually doing to work more productively. So practically what I did was I was too much on the details. I was trying to create this system and I was too focused on the details, and that made me waste a lot of time because I could have been focusing a bit more on the bigger picture, and instead of trying to get this little detail perfect, I could have just make a hypothesis and just go through this fast, iterate, see what works, what doesn't, and go much faster and improve like my process to create this system to work to do this task basically. And I didn't because I was scared. And as you see here, I did a very big reflection. I have also things here. Yep, yep. I did a big reflection. I'm not gonna just read you all of this because I mean I went a bit deep and it's a very detailed. But the main thing, let me just go to the abstraction and the experiment. The main thing that I did, the possible solutions that I found was that whenever, anytime that I feel stuck or I feel slow or I feel inefficient, I feel like I'm not at my best and I'm not doing what I think is best, I'm gonna stop and remind myself to step back and look at the big picture, just detach from emotions. Now, previously on the past, I had tried that, but I still managed to get stuck and get on the details and just be unproductive. The thing is, if that happens, it means that I haven't done it correctly. I have only detached and taken a step back if I actually feel more clarity, if I feel less overwhelmed. And when I actually zoom out, I can think more logically. I'm free of biases. I can prioritize my tasks like without biases, without any emotions clouding my critical thinking, and that is extremely important. The problem that I have, the problem that I have is that I get really anxious and I worry a lot about if I'm actually doing a task that matters and if I'm actually doing a task that is important for my goals. If it's the most important one, because like for the past months and weeks, and uh, as long as I can remember, I've been prioritizing my tasks and what to do based on what feels more important. And I haven't actually prioritized based on logic, based on what actually is more important. Like I know that working on my processes and being aware of what can I improve in optimizing my productivity, obviously that's important. But what is actually important, you know? Because I have a project, the MVP, the minimum viable product of Spacewise. I need to get it done in 2 months now. Now, I haven't started coding, and that is huge because now I'm probably not gonna make it. But I've realized this a while back as well, a couple of times actually. So 3 months ago, I said, oh no, I'm not gonna make it. 1 month ago, I said, oh no, I'm not gonna make it. Now I say, oh no, I'm not gonna make it. But I actually don't make any progress. And why was that? Because every single day I was focusing on what felt important. And it had a logical reason as well. Like I was focusing on my learning skills so I can learn faster, so I can actually get a better understanding of computer graphics and code better. Now that makes logical sense and that feels right. The problem is that there's something even more important that I didn't actually take into account, which was that if I keep sharpening my axe, you know the saying like you should sharpen your axe like 95% of the time, and then the 5% you actually chop the tree, kind of something like this. Well, sharpening the axe represents, in my case, optimizing my systems, learning how to learn, and gaining leverage. But if I only do that, and I never actually cut down the tree, then I'm not gonna make it on time. Like imagine if I needed to cut 100 trees in 60 minutes. Well, if I if I sharpen my axe for those 60 minutes, I'm not gonna cut any trees. That's literally what's going on right now with my project. I'm sharpening my axe, I'm optimizing my systems, I'm trying to be more productive, I'm learning how to learn, but I'm actually not coding and I'm not making visible progress in my app. And it's gonna, like, if I keep doing this, time's gonna go by and I'm not gonna have time to actually achieve this minimum viable product, and I'm not gonna be able to code this on time. So I need to start actually cutting trees right now. And then another problem is that I have a lot of mental blocks to do this. I have a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety about this because I have tried to do this many times and I'm not aware of why I haven't been able to start working on the code. I know why, but I don't know exactly why. I don't know if you know what I mean. I know that I didn't actually take action. I didn't actually plan anything to force me to take action and to remind me of to take action on this and to prioritize my tasks better. I didn't actually do any of that. And the most important part is what I do every single day, because if I don't do stuff on a daily basis, then that's never gonna get done. So how am I gonna make sure that this doesn't happen again? How am I gonna make sure that I actually prioritize my tasks based on logic and not on biases that are going to make me think that the most important thing is to sharpen my axe, when actually in reality the most important thing right now for me is to start cutting the trees, start coding the app. How am I gonna do that? Well, let me think for a second and gather my thoughts, because it's not completely clear yet in my mind. Well, I still feel that not everything is really clear, and I still feel like I have barriers, and I'm probably going to fall back onto the same problem. But right now, what I'm going to do is try to be aware of that. Anytime, like I have created here the mental framework. Anytime that I feel stuck or inefficient or scared or anxious, I'm going to take a step back, as I said. I'm gonna reflect, I'm gonna focus on being aware of what is the problem, what is actually causing this. And I'm going to reflect again, I'm gonna do another reflection about this exactly. I'm gonna try to find the root cause of this, and I'm gonna put a priority, an intention to be aware of what's going on, what's the problem. In the meantime, I have created a possible solution that I can start to experiment with. So the actionable step that I'm gonna take is every single morning I'm gonna wake up and I'm going to set a task. I'm gonna set a timer for like 20 minutes where I'm gonna prioritize my tasks based on logic, and I'm going to really set an intention to not be biased, and I'm gonna try to be really aware of what is the actual priority, what is my actual current constraint, what is limiting me the most right now, and what is the most important thing to do to actually achieve my goals. Like, what actually is the most important thing, not what seems the most important thing. How am I going to make sure that I actually know what is the most important thing? Well, I'm going to look at my goal definition. I'm going to look at my milestones. And if I shut my brain off and don't overthink it, I will just see it clearly. What is the next 1% improvement? What is the next marginal gain that I can do to make actual important progress in my goal? And then there's another important point here, that when I actually have my prioritized goal, I really tend to overcomplicate things and focus on many things at once, which makes me not make any progress at all. So, for example, I try to focus on creating the system, but then I get derailed and I start looking at another detail inside of that system, and then I look at another thing and I get overwhelmed, and then I just stop being productive. So when I have a prioritized task that's actually important, I will set an intention, I will set the exact plan, and I will only do that. I will only do that, and even if I see that there's something that I could do on the side, kind of. So once I have my prioritized, actually important task that I'm confident in, I'm just gonna put everything else aside, and I'm just going to execute this task with my full focus and ignoring the shiny little things that might come up, like the details, the I don't know what actually, but I have put in place this process where after trying to achieve a task, I'm going to reflect every single time, and I'm going to be aware of what's going on and what are my barriers. So that's the important part, becoming aware of my mental blocks and removing them. Now, I've been yapping for a while here, but I think I've made clear what are my next actionable steps and what I'm going to be doing. I think that was the most important thing for today, and I'm gonna end the, the clip here, but right now I'm going to start the part of the video where I'm just documenting my day, and I'm planning, putting the time lapses of how I'm working. I'm talking about my meals and other thoughts, other problems that I have, or whatever, and that's it. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, well, so it's done. It's 2 p.m. right now, and I've been working for the whole like morning. It hasn't been the most productive, but I have reflected over it. Literally made a reflection, 2 hour reflection that I'm gonna explain. I think I've already explained it, but I don't know. Either way, I'm going to take a cold shower now. I'm going to eat and cook my lunch and dinner. Then I'm gonna do some more things. I don't know if I'm gonna have time, but I'll try. Then I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna have a call with the boys, and then I'm gonna record the introduction. The introduction, no, the introduction basically. So let's do that, and I'll see you in a second when I come back with the food. Alright, so here's the meal. As you see, it does not look good, but it does taste very good, and I love I love it as well because of the macros. This is like chicken breast cooked in butter, onion, and tomatoes, and here we have some avocado. So there's a lot of protein, a lot of fats, which I love. And then we have here some peanuts for the calories and for more fats. That's basically it. Let's get this done, and then um, yeah, let's go for the run and let's do some work before, I think. Okay, so now I'm gonna give my full focus to going through this system and breaking down my core features, sequencing them, prioritizing them, and then that's basically it of Spacewise. So let's do that, and I'll see you when I finish. Let's go. Going for the run. Let's go. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. That's a nice quote. Let's go. It's done. Same meal as always. We have the sardines for the omega-3, for the brain, for sleep, for everything. We got the 12 eggs for everything as well. Like it has literally everything. Here we have the salad for the flavor, and here we have some peanuts for the calories and some salt if needed. So yeah, I mean, I don't have much footage this today because my computer crashed like maybe like 4 times, and each time it crashes, like the file just gets corrupted, and that's unfortunate, but it is where it is. And yeah, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna eat, and that's it. So bye bye. Have a nice one. See you the next day. This was a day of like a lot of pain actually, but growth because I reflected. So yeah, let's go. Let's keep going. As you see here, I'm a bit tired. I don't know, bro. Anyway, bye bye.